Hello friends, my name is RagePanda1 and you know what time it is. We've got an exciting update here showing us our new clan that has come out. The Hyrule clan, Harul, Hyrule? I don't know, you pick. Every time I try to say that name it makes me feel like I'm dry heaving. I'm just, Harul, Harul. But what are you gonna do? Say, why don't we go ahead and start reading some abilities. For the male's passive, we have Death Seeker. When an enemy target has less than 30% constitution, the champion teleports behind the target to launch a series of attacks, increasing damage dealt by 40% and recovering constitution by 20% of the damage dealt. If the target dies, the champion heals 50% of constitution lost. Wouldn't you know it, the first ability that we look at is not totally clear how it works. When they say that it heals for 50% of constitution lost, that could mean that it is 50% of the constitution you've lost over the entire fight, or 50% of your missing health now, because even though it looks like it says one thing, we can't always be so sure. Still, for a passive, I think that is super good. Nice little assassination attempt, should work out pretty well there. His active skill, Misdirection, swaps location with the furthest target, gaining 30% damage reduction and increasing the target's damage taken by 30%. So this is really good for the same thing that the male Tidestorm is good for, which is pulling in an enemy. Now the trick is, if we can set this guy and the male Tidestorm up and pull both of the backliners of the enemy team and have our Devala ult on the entire team, well, that's gonna be a happy day, isn't it? His ultimate Blurry Blade slashes at the target for 4 hits and knocks back the target, deals damage equal to 900% of the champion's strength, and inflicts grievous wounds to the target. Targets with grievous wounds have their healing effect reduced by 40%. Now that is super good. Number one, that's a very high damage scaling for an ult, and grievous wounds is something that I think is really finding its place now that we have the Devalas causing such problems. The more you can reduce her healing, the happier you're gonna be. So I think that the male is in a pretty good spot. I don't think he's overpowered. I think you're fine if you skip. I think if you summon and get this guy, you'll be able to use him and you'll be happy about it. For the female, we have a passive that is Mark of Assassin. Normal attacks mark the target for 10 seconds. When a target has 3 stacks of marks, an explosion will be triggered, dealing damage to all targets within range by 300% of the champion's strength, healing the attacker for 30% of the damage dealt by the explosions. So again, this is a way where when you have normal attacks stacking something up, you definitely want agile. So I can tell you straight away that she wants that trait. Also, this means that she pairs very well into that male Harul and male Tidestorm combination, getting all of the enemies as close together as possible, and then you're just blowing people up. Am I saying that that's the best build on the planet? Maybe not, but it's going to be good for the people that are involved. And this passive, by the way, that happens every 3 normal attacks, does AoE damage stronger than some of the active skills in the game, and it heals the person. So I think that you're going to find that this passive is super strong, and she is also going to be very good. Let's see if she can keep herself in the running with these other skills. Her active skill, Shadow Sting, flashes behind the target, gaining 25% damage reduction for 4 seconds, marking them, and throws a number of daggers at the area in front of the champion. The daggers deal damage to all targets along their path by 350% of the champion's strength, and the champion can retrieve the daggers and deal additional damage to the marked target by 120% of the champion's strength. Gonna have to see how that works out in practice, although teleporting behind targets is a good thing, damage reduction is a good thing, and we've got sort of a line attack here. It doesn't sound like the range is gonna be that great. It doesn't sound like this actual ability is going to be doing all that much for you, but it is free marks, and marks are good because we like to blow people up. Now, I wonder if she can mark people with normal attacks, mark people with the Shadow Sting, and then maybe send this out in multiple directions at the same time? Probably not, but I'm just trying to think of ways they could have messed up the wording. It says here that it does an extra damage to marked target. It says the marked target, but we have 2 things that mark targets, and I don't know if they mark them with the same thing, so who knows? We'll have to see how that works in practice. Her ultimate Blade Dance. Blade Dance marks the target and releases a flurry of daggers, dealing damage equal to 500% of the champion's strength and knocking back the target. This also resets the active skill's cooldown time. As daggers fly to the marked target again, they deal additional damage equal to 240% of the champion's strength. So this seems like it's single target, and it has extra requirements, and it still doesn't do as much damage as the males. So my immediate thought here is that I think that probably the male is going to be better just based on reading these alone, but I think they're both going to be fine. So if you summon and you end up getting a mythic of her and plenty of copies to ascend her, you're going to have fun with her. I will say that their strength collectively for both of them is a little bit low. Their fortitude is low, and their hit points are extremely low. Their hit points are half of our female Devala / male Devala. So I see that as being an issue. I'm not sure they do enough damage to make up for the fact that they are squishy as fudge stripe cookies. I think that, I don't know. It almost looks to me like they were about to release another wildly overpowered champion. And then at the last second, they're like, uh-oh, we better take care of this. And they messed up their stats. Because with the low health and fortitude, it's kind of rough. I almost wonder if it's a typo, because I'm not sure if there's another set of people that's that weak. Travains are about as squishy as those assassins who have to be in melee combat. So I'm foreseeing a bit of an issue there. Not sure what we're going to do about that. They come with a little bit of damage reduction, each of them, but I don't see that being enough to keep them tanky. As far as their abilities are super good, but I don't know, bro. Kinda Saskatchewan having the lowest health in the game, I think. I'm pretty sure it's the lowest health in the game. Now, does that make energetic more mandatory or less because it's doing less for you? I don't know. At that point, you might want to take honorable instead, just reduce the damage you're taking to begin with. So I don't know, man. They got a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of really fun stuff. They've got the ability to move enemies around, which is going to open up possibilities that we didn't have before in teams for getting the entire enemy team grouped up and ready to be wrecked. So I think that could be good. Also, I only have 81 stones. I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but I have a business painting dog portraits. I will put some of them here. And around the Christmas season is relatively, people do like to get these for gifts. I generally do digital paintings and then people get canvas prints, although I can also do oils. In fact, what the heck? You know, if you want one, I do a dog for $75. Get your painting of your dog, $75. Custom painting by RagePanda1. But no, yeah, it's busy. I've been busy. I haven't been able to be on the game as much as I want to be on the game. But we also have a couple more updates that were not in our previous patch notes. They have added a chapter 20 plot. It says there's a new set of companionship. I'm guessing that means from charisma, like where you would spend charisma. Guildmasters can now appoint deputies. Guild divination is restricted. Apparently people were abusing that system. There's always some jerk abusing the way the game is supposed to work, isn't there? There's always somebody trying to snake something out to get ahead. Man, just do the right thing, people. And we've got a little bit of a buff to the female Devala, which is more of a bug fix. It just stops her from getting stuck in her animation and standing still when she does her ultimate. But here's a big change that is actually important, and it even actually affects our Hyrule clan, and that is the Aeson clan trait has not been working properly. Devout, that's supposed to be increasing our healing by 22%, has not been working properly. So all of your sustain comps, if you haven't had Devout on your people who are actually healing, you have not been getting the effect. And so I think that is a huge buff to sustain comps, and I wish that I knew that before, because I was a little disappointed in my White Eyes healing recently. And I was thinking, man, that's like 20% less than it needs to be. And guess what? Now it's all better because Devout is going to work and the function exists. So that's pretty cool. Man, I really got to get this athletic off of this guy. But I digest. You know, it's going to be a skip for me because I don't have the stones to be able to justify it. I can't just throw random willy-nilly stones at every single thing that comes out, because then I'm never going to be able to get any of the companions. And that's not what I'm looking for. So let's look at our companionship tree down here. Hey, there it is. This the one that they was talking about. I kind of, when I initially read that, thought that maybe they were talking about a new companion summon, because when I logged into the game, it told me, hey, the companion summoning is here. And I'm like, oh, snap, crackle, pop. Is that what they changed? Because that would be cool. But it's not what they changed. They added a new companionship section down there. So, hey, thanks for listening to my rambling at the end of this video. You know, I'm just having a good old time. I have been Rage Panda 1, and I will see you in the next one.